Hi, we're back in the kitchen for another little recipe. It's going to be a quickie this evening, and it may actually be the last one for a short while because Suanna's going back to her studies to do her exams, which is a bit sad, but you know, you still got me. What we're going to make tonight is a sort of mushroom pate dip thing. We made it a few days ago and it was very tasty, so I thought I'd just redo it. It'll be a short video, very easy to do. Very nutritious actually. I've just been looking up because Suanna's doing her nutrition. I thought I can't be outdone by her, so I've done a little read around.
Yeah.
And mushrooms apparently, 1 cup give you 1/3 of your vitamin D for the day, and a lot of phosphorus, which is good for lowering your blood pressure. So
that's
anything
good
to add to
knowledge.
that? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but you mentioned about vitamin D, but it is in an inactive form. Yeah, mushroom.
Not good enough for Suanna.
But still you can consume it because most of the Indians, or especially the athletes, I faced that vitamin D deficiency is lot in athletes itself. So I think minimum adequate enough of vitamin D you should consume through vegetables possibly, but you can consume it with supplements as well.
Can I just stop you there? I feel like the guy on the news when everything's ended and the camera's still rolling and doesn't know what to do with himself.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
So her vitamin D knowledge is better than mine, alright, fair enough. So here we have it. So this is probably approximately 2 cups of mushrooms, I would guess, which all I'm going to do with these is slightly chop them and I'm going to cook them on the tower with some garlic and a few ajwain seeds. First thing I do is light the tower just to warm up a little bit. Okay, so there's a little medium heat on there. Don't need any oil or anything because it's well seasoned, as you can see. It's very, we've been cooking a lot of things on there. So what I thought I'd start with, this is probably so obvious to most people, but I'm actually going to show you. I peel mushrooms, I never wash them. Wash them makes them soggy. You can buy these little poncy brushes to brush all the stuff off should you want to. What I tend to do is just peel them because I don't find the skins particularly pleasant when they're anything. So peeling a mushroom, volume 1, right? All I do is I'll take the stalk off. I actually use the stalks in this pate, so we just chop the end off, chuck that away and we'll keep the rest. And I peel them from the inside, so you just peel them, take the lip and just peel them like that. So you're removing any dirt and any slimy skin that might happen when it's cooked. I'm sure someone will tell you there's lots of nutrition in the skin, which there may well be, but for this recipe I don't really want them in there, so that's what we're going to do. So all I'm going to do is chop them so they're all roughly the same size, so they all cook at approximately the same rate. Small ones I'll leave whole. Oh, another thing I found out about mushrooms, this actually is probably quite useful. Apparently, you don't salt them at the beginning when you're cooking them. If you salt them when you're beginning cooking them, it releases a lot of water and they tend to steam rather than crisp up like you want, or brown, how you like them. Doesn't seem to matter that much when you do it in the oven because you're cooking them for quite some time. So, but on the tower, I'm going to salt them at the end before I put them into the blender. Right, so that's pretty much it. I'm just going to do that. I'm keeping them reasonably big because, as you probably know, mushrooms will shrink as you cook them. So you'll end up with this huge thing to start with and they'll end up filling up when it's cooked. So I won't cook them down too small. Okay, that's probably enough, I think. Just chop those two just to be on the safe side. Okay, and I've done the same with the garlic. If you look in there, I've left them reasonably big. So if I cut them too small, they'll all just go really overcooked. So when we put them in the blender, they'll just taste a bit bitter. So anyway, I'll put those on there. And while they're cooking, I'll introduce you to everything else I've got here for the recipe. Okay, we'll just leave those cooking for a moment. So what I'm going to put in once I get to the blender stage, I'll just show you. I've got a little bit of coconut oil there. It's probably a tablespoon of coconut oil, and I may not use it all. I just put that in to give it a nice texture. It doesn't really add much to the flavouring. This is coconut cream, fresh coconut cream. Now you can use dairy cream or an alternative. I don't eat dairy, so I'm going to use coconut cream. Doesn't actually flavour it very much, so you don't have to worry about it tasting of coconut or anything like that. We've got a few ajwain seeds, some cumin powder, some chili powder, and we've got some nice nutmegs which grow on a tree outside. I'm going to grate a little bit of nutmeg in there at the end. I'm going to try not to use that lovely big one because it's such a nice looking thing. It's a shame, I'm going to use one of the little ones I think. But yeah, anyway. So,
and salt.
And salt. Always salt, but that will be done, as I say, after they cook.
Yeah, after.
He's getting a bit Debbie. Going back to college soon, aren't you?
Yeah.
So just going to give those a little stir. Once this partially cooked, I'm going to add the garlic onto the tower as well, so it flavours together. This will probably cook slightly quicker than those, so I'm just going to let them cook for a minute or two. Right, I think that'll probably do. What I'll do, I'll come back to you once these are cooked down, and then I'll show you what to do, put them in the blender and everything. But it's a very simple recipe, as I say, but it's very tasty for breakfast or whatever, and actually has some protein as well. I think there's 3 grams of protein in a cup of mushrooms.
Yeah.
So here's your mushrooms with your garlic all cooked up. Not too cooked, but you see how they've shrunk? That's not that big to start with. So we're just going to add it all into the blender and give it a quick whiz round and we're done. So first, I'll put those in there. Now this is bound to get horribly wrong. I actually made something earlier and I forgot to put the lid on properly and it all went boom. But that's me. So, little pinch of ajwain seeds. There are a few I put on while we were cooking, but I'm putting just a few more in there now because they will get ground up in it. They seem to bring out the taste of mushroom and make it more sort of earthy. Little pinch of salt now that we're cooked. See, I've learnt that, so let's have a little bit of salt in there. A little bit of fresh coconut cream. I'm not going to use all of that. Just a little dash there, probably half of it. That's probably about a tablespoon in there, and about half a tablespoon of coconut oil, and that's just to give it a smoother taste. And finally, I'm going to use a bit of this nutmeg. There's a bit of mace on the outside coating, so I'll put that in, and then I'll just grate a little bit into the. Along with my fingernails, probably.
Be careful.
It's all flavour, isn't it? Okay, so that's about a third of a small nutmeg. I don't want to overdo anything. Oh, last but not least, chili powder. So this can be to your own taste. I don't want too much in it because mushrooms have got a delicate flavour. And you don't want to spoil that by putting too much chili powder in. Now what I'll do is I'll blitz this. If it's too thick, I'll bring it down a little bit with some filtered water. So let's see how we go. Oh, actually, that's not too bad, that. Actually, that's quite a good texture, I think. I'll give it one more little whiz just because there's a few things aren't mixed in, but I'd say that's quite a good texture, that. Just give it about 5 seconds more. Okay, so I'd say that's done. I'll put it in a little bowl, come back to you in a minute and just show you it in the bowl, and then that's done. That's your mushroom pate spread. And we might even get Suanna to taste a little bit and tell you what it's like on camera. Okay, see you in a minute.
Hi everyone, we are back again for the tasting of mushroom patty, special mushroom dip, I will say. So I'm getting to taste and eat for the after a long time and for the last time maybe. And we had made it in in the lockdown. So it is like quite a big time gap. So let's taste it and see how is it the same taste or no.
Before we go, look how much is there from the big tray of mushrooms. That was a punnet and a half of mushrooms, and we've got just for scale. Here's my hand. It's tiny, but anyway. When I suggested to Suanna about tasting it, she said, yeah, really enthusiastic and everything, right? And I swear to you, she went and got this spoon, right? This spoon.
It was not this
It was
spoon.
this one, right?
It was this one.
Well, anyway, let's try it. Let's see what it's like. I want an honest opinion now.
Okay.
Honest opinion as long as it's good, obviously.
Steve, what you have done? You have enhanced my taste buds.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing, yes, exactly.
It is actually quite good. I know she's going to get an Oscar for the performance, but it actually is quite nice. So there you go, mushroom dip, bad camera work, but it's all done and
dusted.
dusted. All right.
Yes.
So,
see you after some months or days maybe, and with a new list of videos.
Okay.
Until then, take care. Bye bye.
Yeah, take care. Bye.